How do you feel your game is at this point of the season? What do you think is working for you?
Yeah, so far it's been feeling good. Obviously, getting a couple games last year and then starting here right away this year, it's felt a lot more comfortable for me. Just kind of being around the guys, day in, day out, throughout games and practices, felt a lot more comfortable and feel like I'm able to be myself a little bit more this year than I was maybe last year.
Great, thanks very much. Have a good game.
Thank you.
Next up is John Hoven.
15 games of NHL experience. Just what's the most difficult thing for you right now to keep up with everything that's going on around you?
Yeah, obviously the schedule's a bit different than what I've been used to in the past. Having less practice days and more games, but day in, day out, playing against some of the top guys, in the world, in the league, every night, it can be a challenge. It's kind of trying to stay level-headed. You're going to have a bad shift every now and then and make a bad play, but it's making sure you just shake it off, come out next shift mentality, and kind of trying to not get too high on the highs, too low on the lows, and stay level-headed throughout a game and build off the positives and try and fix some of the negatives from maybe the night before.
I know the cliche answer would be that you talk to everybody, but in your particular situation, who do you find yourself spending more time with on the plane or on a bus or, before, after practice? Is it someone like Cale Clegg who's kind of going through the same thing as you from an experience perspective and you guys are comparing notes? Or do you spend more time talking to some of the guys like Drew Doughty and trying to understand how you can improve your game and shorten the learning curve?
Yeah, I think there's a balance of both. Obviously being, on the planes and stuff, sitting by, Gabe or, being around Clegg a little bit more. And, we kind of bounce ideas off each other, kind of how we're doing, how we're feeling. But then again, they're in the same shoes that I'm in. And like you said, we got less than 20 games of experience right now. So it's digging, to Drew or Kobe, Brownie, any of those guys. And, they've been here for a long time. They've won in the league. And it's trying to pick their brains, see what they think on a day-to-day basis and try and learn from them. And, that's when you can go back to some of the younger guys and kind of bounce some of those ideas off each other.
Thanks, Mikey. Always appreciate your time.
Yep.
Next up is Jim Fox.
Hey, Mikey, I'm sure this question involves a kind of a universal issue with structure based on every team, but we can be specific to the Kings and maybe the personnel, looking for keys for the first pass, more specifically as a defenseman in the Kings system, when you're going back for a puck first pass, what are your keys?
Yeah, I think if we're going back for retrieval, the first key I think you got to think about is trying to read what's coming. Teams forecheck really well now. They're hard. They get in the right spots. They're taking away your options. So it's going back for the puck and already kind of have an idea of what you want to do with it. So, that first touch, if you can try and go right up to the forward, which guy you have open. If you're going, across here to the D partner, where he is. It's kind of knowing what you're going to do with the puck before you get it. The game's too fast now and the guys are too skilled to pick off passes and then strip pucks where you got to know where it's going before you actually have it on your stick.
Thanks, Mikey.
Yep.
Next up is Nick Nixon.
Caught me off guard here. I have my hand up for Todd, but Mikey, you're playing a good team here tonight in Vegas, obviously, and they haven't played for 10 days. So from your perspective, what are going to be the keys for the Kings to come out and hopefully get a good start?
Yeah, I think kind of like you said there, it's having a good start. They haven't played in a week now or whatever it was. So they're going to be itching at the bit to come out and get back in the games. But at the same time, they might be a little rusty where we got to make sure we're dialed in to be ready for their push. Probably it's going to come right from the start. Probably going to be a hard, heavy game. Like you said, they're a very skilled team. So I think we got to just be ready from puck drop. We can't give them anything early. they're ready to go. They've been sitting, waiting, watching other teams play. So they'll be ready to go, and then we got to match it.
Okay, next up is Zach Dooley.
Hey, Mikey, you've played with Drew now for a handful of games. What is it about his game, whether in practice or in preparation, that you think makes him, such an effective player?
Obviously, there's a lot of things that go to that, but he's super skilled. He can make plays that a lot of guys can't, or he sees some things, differently, or whether it's a patience aspect where he can, outweight a forecheck or draw him a little bit closer to give the next guy a little bit more time. But I mean, I'm sure as everyone can hear, I don't know if everyone on TV can, but he's nonstop chatter on the ice. He makes it easy to play with. He's always talking on the bench, whether it's about a play from the shift before, what we got to do going forward. But throughout a shift, I mean, he's directing traffic. He's calling for pucks. He's letting you know what you got. And having that out there makes it extremely easy to play with.
Do you think that constant communication is helpful for this younger group of defensemen to have that kind of vocal leadership from a guy who's accomplished so much in this league?
Yeah, it's huge. A lot of young guys come into the league, and sometimes it can be scary to not boss around the older guys, but communicate to them on the ice, tell them what they got, kind of direct traffic. I've felt that too, but a guy like Drew makes it comfortable to you watch him, you see the way he is day in, day out, the communication he has, and it's something that it's very contagious, and you see the success the team has, he has with that. And it can trickle down to the rest of the group, throughout a lineup.
Thanks, Mikey.
And last one here from Alex Faust.
Mikey, I know by virtue of being on the top D pairing, you have to play a lot of minutes. And I'm aware, back in college, that was something you were asked to do a lot too. Is there something that you're either aware of in game, or are you constantly keeping kind of that mental clock of, okay, I can't get caught out here, or what's my partner doing? Like, how do you manage in a game like this, especially given the the weight of being on the top pairing right now?
Yeah, it can be a challenge. You get caught out there sometimes. It's just the way games go. But I think you go on the ice, you got to recognize who you're out there against. If you're out there against the other team's top line, you're probably looking at more of, trying to be more of a shutdown type role, knowing what they're going to do. Whereas, maybe against a bottom pairing line, you might be able to, be a bit more active in the ozone if you can get the chance. But, you try not to change too much though. You want to play your game, make it easy for the guys out there with you to have success.